In today's episode, we're talking about exactly where to start if you're new to social media management. But even if you're not brand new, you might still get some aha moments, so keep on listening.
You're listening to JFDI with the Two Lauras. This is the weekly podcast for freelance social media managers. We're on a mission to help more social media freelancers to build profitable businesses that fund their lifestyle and work around their families. And every week, the two of us share tips, advice and inspiration about business, marketing and social media to help you to do that. In today's episode, we're going back to basics because we've had so many questions lately from people who are just getting started and are confused and overwhelmed about what to do first. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone, don't worry. So we're going to talk about where you should start, how you can get your first clients and key things to consider from day one. So, Laura Davis, thinking about somebody who is coming into being a social media manager and they are asking themselves the question, should I first start by thinking about marketing or should I first start by thinking about business processes? What do you think? Where should people start? What comes first?
I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all approach here. I think it depends very much on where you're coming from. So, for example, if you're a social media manager in an employed role and are wanting to go freelance, you should, in theory, have that social media knowledge. So you would want to focus on your business because that's the area that's going to be new to you coming from an employed role. If you're someone who has the kind of businessy skills, maybe you've had businesses before, so feel more confident in that area, but you're maybe needing a refresh on social media marketing because it's been a while or it's a whole new thing, then I would start with that first, as in learning about social media marketing first, because my reasons for that are you need to start putting content out. You need to start marketing yourself because you could sit there and do all the business processes and have everything ready to win a client, but you've not done nothing to go and get that client. So you'll want to be able to speak confidently about social media marketing. So there are a few things you might want to do or you're going to have to do in terms of things like business names, that kind of stuff. But your energy, I think, initially should start on feeling confident in social media marketing.
Yeah, I would agree. Because yes, you do have to have the business processes ready, but if there's no one knocking on your door ready to hire you, you can't use the business processes. But equally, you need to know that when somebody does knock on your door, you can quickly and easily put those into place, even if you haven't done them just yet. So if you are brand new and you're like, okay, hang on, this is just, I don't really know where to start. Don't worry, we're going to go through some of the things that you need to do.
Yeah.
But also go to thetwolauras.com/7 roadmap. We'll put that link in the show notes because we've put together a really comprehensive 7-day roadmap where we send you an email every day for 7 days telling you what to do to get your business started. So that will really help you. And of course, if you've got access to the Social Media Managers Toolkit, then dive into that. Everything that you need is in there to help you with all of these different aspects. But we're going to kind of talk it through so you know exactly what to do. So I think we've spoken about like the marketing and like getting that understanding and knowing what business processes you probably need to have. But before you can do it like any of that, you kind of need to go out and find clients, right? So what are the kind of key things to consider from day one when it comes to actually getting clients who will work for you who will work with you? It'd be nice if they would work for you, but I think that's unlikely. But who will work with you?
Okay, so you need to understand or come up with a plan of where are you going to find these clients? They are not going to come and ding dong on your front door. So you want to sit down and have a conversation with yourself, because that's what we all do, right? To decide who you want to work with, like where are they? Do you want to work with a particular niche, like greengrocers, as Laura always gives us an example, or hairdressers? And do you want to work with people who are just local to you? Not my recommendation. Do you want to work, all these questions. And so then you can start to understand, well, where are they? Where are they hanging out? Do I need to be going to in-person business networking events? Do I need to be hanging out on a particular platform more than another? So you really want to understand where they're going to come from. Now, it may well be the person comes from just someone you know, and that's certainly how I got my first client. Is that how you got your first client?
Yeah, that's how I got my first client too. Yeah. And we can talk about how we can help you to get your first clients as well as we go through the podcast. I think that might be a useful thing to do.
Yeah, 100%. So where will that first client come from is what you would need to understand. And where are your clients likely to be, or where do you want to position yourself as the expert?
And I think that will come down, you kind of might need to almost take it back a step before you even know the answer to that, because I think a lot of that will depend on what platform you want to work on. Because as a social media manager, you don't have to offer all platforms. And actually, we would advise against you doing that, because these days people want to hire like platform experts because they're all so big and bulky, and there's just so much knowledge to have around an individual platform these days. It's almost like a full-time job just with one platform. So what platform do you want to work on? And the way that you can think about that is it might just be you prefer one platform over the other. It could be that your skills are better for one platform over the other. So for example, you might not be very creative, but you love writing, maybe LinkedIn. It might be that you are very creative and maybe you love doing video. So maybe it's TikTok or Instagram. So you can think about those sorts of things. But it could also be that you have come from a specific niche and you love working in that industry, and that industry leans more to a certain platform than another. So what kind of platform is it that you want to put your emphasis on? And then in that respect, is the client that you want to work with actually hanging out on that platform? Because yes, they might be marketing their business on that platform, but are they actually reachable on that platform, right? Because some businesses are not.
Or they might not be on the platform because they don't know how to be on the platform.
Yeah.
So, for example, you might be an expert at Instagram, but your audience are all on TikTok and they don't really know how Instagram works. So they haven't got on there yet. So you might feel like you need to have some presence on TikTok to market to them to sell your Instagram services, for example.
Yeah. And you don't have to, like we always say, be an expert in one platform. You don't have to feel like an expert at this point to position yourself as an expert on a platform. Because like Laura and I, we still don't feel like experts at anything. But,
Speak for yourself.
Speaking for myself. What are you an expert in, Laura? Go on.
Everything.
But like you don't have to have, that confidence takes a really long time to get, because you don't get confident unless you actually do something. So you're not going to feel confident telling someone you're an expert unless you've already told someone you're an expert. The first time is always going to feel really weird.
Yeah, and I would argue that you can never be an expert.
No,
I'd say like a full 100% know everything about every single platform ever.
Yeah, because it changes.
It
changes all the time. So even if you're sitting here thinking, yeah, great, I really want to be an Instagram manager, but I know I'm not an expert. Don't worry, you can't become one unless you become one. It's like kind of like this circle you have to go around. So you just need to own it to start with. So so what platform is it that you want to work on based on your skills, your preferences, where your clients might be hanging out, the kind of things that you want to do on a day-to-day basis? Like, do you want to do organic or do you want to do ads? Where's your focus going to be in terms of that? I think that's a big decision to make from day one. And it can change. It doesn't have to be set in stone. It can definitely change.
And don't be afraid to just ask people, like ask business owners, like ask people if you're stood at the school gates and you know that they run a business, when you go and buy your coffee from a local coffee shop. That's what I used to do, not because I was trying to pitch to them in any shape or form. I was just interested to know what their views were. Like I had a previous business before I was a freelance social media marketer, so I kind of had that as a bit of a guide, but that was only specific to that industry. And I think sometimes we assume a lot, and I think it's worth, just having conversations, just chit chat, just say what are your perceptions of this? Why do you market on this platform? Like find out, ask questions, because that's where you can't build a business based on assumptions, I think is what I'm trying to get at.
No, definitely. You can get a lot from asking questions for sure.
Yeah.
I think there's only one other thing that you have to do from day one, and everything else can kind of come later. You might think otherwise, but I think the only other thing you need to decide from day one is how much you're going to charge from day one. And I don't mean you're going to set your fee and that's your fee. I mean, it's how much do you want to make? Like, what's your income goal? How much are you going to be spending expenses wise? How much do you need to put away for tax? How many clients can you work with? Do some maths. That's your basic, your absolute minimum amount. So how much is that? How much is that minimum amount, so that when you do get a client or somebody says to you out of the blue, well, how much do you charge? You don't have to go, oh my God, I don't know, £200. Like, you know the actual number that you need to say in order to make money. So you need to put that work in and do that maths. And Laura's definitely the maths expert around here. So if you need tips, I'm sure she will give you some.
There we go. That's my expertise then. Yeah, and that whole exercise is something that you should repeat every month forever, because everything changes. Your outgoings change, your confidence changes. You've realised that you've been piddling around charging £200 a month for Instagram, and you realise that you got that really wrong because you are burnt out and you're tired and you actually want to make £2,000 a month. That means you're going to have 10 of those clients, and you realise that that is not possible. You know, like, we've all got to start somewhere, and I can guarantee we will all make mistakes, you know, with pricing, because you just don't really know until you get started. And I think, you know, some people can think, oh, well, you know, I'm only going to charge a couple of £100 because, you know, I've only got to put a couple of posts on Instagram. And you're kind of like, no, like, it is more than that. And you very quickly realise that when you start doing the job and doing the job properly and dealing with the clients and having the clients to deal with is worth a couple of £100 alone, you know.
Yeah. And I think it's worth saying, like, right from the outset, I would love you to get into your mindset that there is no standard rate, okay? It doesn't matter what anyone else is charging for social media management. It's no good going into a Facebook group and saying, what would be a good price for this? Or is this a reasonable price? Because first of all, why are you charging a reasonable price? You should be charging a decent price so you make money. But it doesn't matter what anyone else's opinion is on your price, because they don't know how much money you need to pay your mortgage. They don't know where you live. They don't know how much your food bill is. They don't know how many schedulers you're paying for. They don't know how many clients you can have, how many hours you can work. They don't know any of that.
Yeah. And
their basic numbers might be vastly different from yours.
There was a post this morning about that in our free Facebook group, the Social Media Managers Hub. And someone had said, this is what I'm wanting to charge. What do you think? Is it too high? And of course I went back with, well, if that's what you need to charge, then that's what you need to charge. To be fair, it was slightly on the higher side that I thought was relative to the business, but obviously I didn't have much information to go on. But then someone commented saying, I think you're charging too much. If that was me, I would charge X, Y, Z. And I was a bit like, but your outgoings could be completely different.
There's only one person who can tell you that you're charging too much, and that's the person who doesn't want to pay that price.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, there is no set amount, as Laura said, and there are people who will be charging £10,000 a month for Instagram management, and the rest probably. There will be people who are charging £200, and there is a hell of a lot of people somewhere in the middle of that. And there is no right or wrong. I would argue that the £200 one is probably not the greatest move, but so you have to price based on you and your business. There is no point going, oh, hang on, well, that lady, she's charging £300, so I'll go in at £299, when your outgoings are, you know, £500 a month. Like, you can't work like that. It's the fastest way to fail. You've got to price for you. That's why you can buy an apple in one shop for one price, which I can't actually think of a price of an apple. And then you go into another shop and it's 3 times more expensive to buy, at the end of the day, an apple. And it's because they've all come from different places, the processes they've gone through, whether they're mass produced or whether they're grown in a little orchard in the Mirror of Herefordshire. You know, it's all very, very different. But no one questions that. But yet we all seem to think that we all need to have a set price. And my pricing has never, ever, ever been the same for 2 clients. Every new client that inquired with me, I would charge more or differently because of what they were wanting and because of how much I'd learned and my experiences of charging not enough. So I think we've gone off on a little bit of a tangent here. But the most important thing you need to do is set yourself up with a bit of a spreadsheet, write down everything that you need to be spending money on for your business, which won't be much. You know, it's not an expensive business to be a social media marketer, but write it down. write down how many days you've got available to work or how many hours you've got and what you feel you can do within that time. And we'll all be different. You know, like Laura Moore works like some kind of machine. I work like a snail. And then you've got those benchmarks that you can go on, and then no one could argue with you then. You can be confident then knowing that I have to earn a minimum of X amount. And remember, you want to include a profit in that. And then no one can question you because you know that's right. So, but definitely do that exercise and repeat that exercise all the time.
Yeah, agreed. So think about where your clients are going to come from, think about what platforms you want to work on, and think about how much you're going to charge. And in terms of where your clients are going to come from, like Laura's already said, they're not just going to come and knock on your door. And no matter what course you've done that's taught you how to be a great social media manager, still doesn't come with clients knocking on your door. Sadly, people find that out the difficult way. You still have to go out and find clients. And look, Laura and I are not fans at all of cold pitching, at all. We will always tell you not to cold pitch. But there are people out there who will help you to get your first client because they are people who know you, people who already trust you, people who are willing to help you. And that isn't cold pitching, right? The people you want to kind of pitch and ask for help for are people who are like your friends and family, maybe people who you've worked with in the past, maybe in different roles, people who you're friends with on Facebook, all of those sorts of people. We've put together what we call the Client Attraction Kit. It's a program that is delivered very much like this in your ears, and we will tell you what to do every single day, who to contact, and you know exactly what to say to them in order to go and attract your first clients. If you want to grab a copy of that, go to thetwolauras.com/client. That will help you to learn exactly what you need to do to get your first clients. And if you're not at that point yet, remember, take it one step back and go and grab that 7-day roadmap that we talked about before. Both of those links are in the show notes for you to go and grab.
And if you've got those things and you've still got questions, come and join us in our free Facebook group, the Social Media Managers Hub, and come and ask us the questions, and we and all your peers will help you figure it all out.
Yeah, definitely. This is a brilliant business to be in, and we're really excited if you're just getting started, and we definitely are here to help you. So yeah, definitely come and find us in the group and let's chat it through. And we'll be back same time, same place next week.
Toodle pip.
Au revoir. That's so weird. I was going to say toodle pip. Okay, toodle pip.